So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, just after watching this lecture, you have to revise it as well because just watching it won't help you remembering these current affairs till your exam. You'll quickly forget them. So do revise these current affairs that you have just studied after this lecture from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section below this video. Okay? So do revise it. Now let's begin today's discussion, but first let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. Okay, so let's begin. So daily current affairs, 25th of September, Thursday, and here is the topics list. Okay, so you must have noticed this also. There is this huge wave of protests in Ladakh, and all these protesters are demanding, well, inclusion of Ladakh into 6th schedule of the constitution. So we will try to investigate these protests. We will try to investigate what is this 6th schedule and why these protesters are demanding Ladakh's inclusion into this 6th schedule of the constitution. Okay, so we will talk about this. Then the next topic is related to Union Government's Sahyog portal. Basically, Twitter, now called X, launched a case against Union Government Sahyog portal in Karnataka High Court. And Karnataka High Court basically ruled in favor of the government. So what is this entire case all about? Okay, what is this entire case all about? Because this case revolves around freedom of speech and censorship. So we'll talk about this. Okay. Third topic is with respect to decriminalization of defamation. What is defamation? What is civil defamation? What is criminal defamation? And why is Supreme Court now thinking about decriminalizing defamation? We'll talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about China's K visa. You all know that USA is now restricting H-1B visa. So to attract talented people across the world who are now unable to go to USA because of these restrictions on H-1B visa, China has launched its own visa called K visa to attract foreign talent. Okay, so we'll talk about the impact of this move. Okay, so first topic is related to your UPSC syllabus. Which portion of UPSC syllabus? Polity portion. Okay. Second topic is also related to polity. Today's current affairs are polity-centric. Third topic is also related to UPSC polity, GS polity. Okay. And fourth topic is related to your UPSC syllabus via international relations. Okay. So these are the 4 topics that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that is Ladakh protests, 6th schedule inclusion. Okay. Now, you must have seen this in the news that, well, protesters in Ladakh were protesting. They burned down a BJP office building. Police fired on them. Well, the protests didn't remain peaceful because of police firing and because of this violent activities by the protesters. Well, 4 people have lost their lives and the count can increase also. Now, these peaceful protests or the leaders of these protests or protesters who were saying that these would be peaceful protests have now turned violent. Now, why are these Ladakhi people protesting? You see, they have basically demanded some things from the union government ever since J&K Reorganization Act was passed in 2019. You see, before 2019, Ladakh was part of the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir. But after the scrapping of Article 370, well, this entire province of Jammu and Kashmir was divided into 2 union territories. Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Union territory of Ladakh. Now, while Jammu and Kashmir has its own chief minister, has its own legislative assembly, Ladakh is that union territory much like Chandigarh, Daman and Diu, Dadar and Nagar Haveli, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, Ladakh is directly administered from the center. Clear? So there are 2 union territories. Ladakh is that union territory which is directly administered from center. It has no legislature, no chief minister, nothing. No local autonomy. It will be directly administered from the center. Now, ever since 2019, when this happened, well, Ladakhi people have been demanding some autonomy. Okay, they have been demanding some autonomy. They want local autonomy, that they should be allowed to make decisions, some decisions themselves. Okay, they shouldn't be directly ruled over by the center. They need some autonomy, much like different states of India. Different states have their own chief minister and all these things. So they also want some autonomy. Now, they were demanding inclusion into 6th schedule of the constitution. Now, what is 6th schedule? Okay, you need to be aware of this. You see, when India got independence and we were framing our constitution, back then in India, there were many tribal communities, okay, who were now to be part of India, independent India, not British India, independent India, right? Now, these tribal communities said that they have their own customs, they have their own laws, they have their own system. Now, under the new Indian law, will they be able to practice their own tribal laws? Will they be able to practice their own tribal laws, or their tribal laws will be suppressed by independent India's laws, right? This was their insecurity. Many tribals in central India and northeast India, they had this insecurity. So, to remove their insecurity, our constitution did some innovation, okay? In that innovative move, well, our constitution said that within the overarching framework of Indian law, these tribal areas will be given some autonomy. And for that, our constitution introduced 5th schedule and 6th schedule. Tribal areas in central India were included in 5th schedule. Tribal areas in northeast India were included in 6th schedule. Now let's focus on 6th schedule, okay? So those tribal areas which are in 6th schedule will be given some autonomy. Now what would be that autonomy? Overall Indian law will apply, but these tribal areas where tribes are in majority, well, they would be allowed to hold elections and elect their own tribal nominees to autonomous district councils. So these tribal areas will have autonomous district councils. Tribal people will elect their tribal representatives into autonomous district councils. And these autonomous district councils will have some powers of making laws, rules, regulations, regulating land, money lending, everything. Okay. So they were given some autonomy within the Indian Union. Tribes were satisfied. And well, India was born, everyone was happy. Clear? That was the thing. Now, Ladakh was earlier part of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, when it was part of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, well, there were state assembly elections. Some representatives from Ladakh were part of J&K assembly. But ever since Ladakh was made into a union territory, they are now directly administered by the center, and they say that they have no role in decision making as far as Ladakh is concerned. Therefore, they were demanding inclusion into 6th schedule, okay? That not just northeast, Ladakh should also be included in 6th schedule. And the reason that they have given is that 90% of Ladakh is scheduled tribes. 90% of the population of Ladakh is scheduled tribes. So why shouldn't it be part of 6th schedule? Because 6th schedule was created for tribal people. So if 90% of Ladakhi people are scheduled tribes, they also should have autonomy. And that's what they are fighting for. Clear? So this is the issue. Now the center granted them some autonomy, but it was not at par with 6th schedule autonomy. That is why their protests are still continuing, and they took a violent turn recently. Now our job is to understand what is this 6th schedule, okay? Because questions can be asked. It is a very important part of your polity syllabus in UPSC. So let's focus on 6th schedule and why is this protest being conducted? What are the motivations of protesters and who is leading this protest? Clear? So let's talk about this. So Ladakh protests 6th schedule inclusion. So first let's talk about 6th schedule of Indian Constitution. Okay. So Article 244 of the Constitution creates 6th schedule of the Constitution for tribal areas of Northeast. For tribal areas of Central India like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, there is 5th schedule. For Northeast, it is 6th schedule. Okay. Now, Article 244 creates 6th schedule. Now, what are the provisions with respect to areas included in 6th schedule? Okay. So, all these tribal areas included in 6th schedule, in these areas where tribes, these scheduled tribes are in majority, well, they will form an autonomous district council. The members of this autonomous district councils would be 13 number and they would be directly elected by the tribal members for a 5-year term. The powers given to them are they are given some powers with respect to making laws for conducting the affairs of their own tribe, rules and regulations that satisfy their tribal customs, laws, everything. Clear? So some autonomy was given to them. Clear? Now, currently we have 10 autonomous district councils. Okay? 3 are in Assam, 3 are in Meghalaya, 3 are in Mizoram, and 1 is in Tripura. And now Ladakh is demanding one more, Autonomous District Council. Clear? So this is the thing. Now, it's fascinating. Who is leading these protests? Now, this issue starts from 2019 when J&K Reorganization Act was passed and Ladakh was made into a union territory. Protests started. And who is the leader of these protests? Well, a man named Sonam Wangchuk. Who is Sonam Wangchuk? If you guys have seen a Bollywood movie called Three Idiots, well, Amir Khan's character was inspired from Sonam Wangchuk. He's a Ladakhi who received Roman Magsaysay Award for basically using science and technology to improve the lives of Ladakhi youth. Okay, typically what Amir Khan's character was doing in the movie Three Idiots in the end, right? So he has been asking for autonomy for Ladakhi people. In fact, recently when the protests were growing day by day, he called these protests as the Gen Z protests because younger people are protesting. Okay, nonetheless, he's the leader of these protests. Clear? That's all you need to know. Some extra details about Sonam Wangchuk are given in your notes. The questions won't be asked, but just for your general knowledge, do read that. Alright, now let's quickly shift our focus to second news item, and that is Union Government's Sahyog portal. Okay, now listen to me carefully. You see, the thing is that, well, there are so many social media platforms. Okay, Twitter, which is now called X, Facebook, YouTube. There are so many social media platforms. Now, on these social media platforms, members, people post a lot of things. Now, sometimes these posts can be illegal, violent, inciting violence. Okay, sometimes these posts can be illegal, blatantly illegal. Clear? Now, if these posts made by people like you and me are illegal, who should be punished for this? You can't punish Twitter for someone, or you can't punish Twitter if someone posted something illegal on Twitter, because it was not Twitter's fault. Twitter is just an online intermediary. People post things, but Twitter is just an intermediary. So all these social media platforms are called intermediaries. Now, they can't be prosecuted for anything illegal posted on their website because they were not the ones posting this. Make sense? Therefore, under Indian law, there is this provision called safe harbor provision. What is safe harbor provision? Anything illegal posted on Facebook or any other social media platform, well, Facebook won't be prosecuted for this. Okay, this is safe harbor protection to Facebook. Make sense? But if anything is posted illegally on Facebook, government finds that out. Government tells Facebook to take it down. And if Facebook doesn't take it down, then these safe harbor protections will go away, and now government can prosecute Facebook as well. So you understand the meaning of this word safe harbor, right? Now, why was this in the news? So recently, well, government has created an online portal called Sahyog portal. All these orders to take down content on social media platforms are given from this Sahyog portal only. Okay. Now, recently X, Twitter, previously Twitter, they took Sahyog portal to Karnataka High Court, saying that this body is increasing censorship, they are suppressing freedom of speech and expression, and they are being high-handed. It is a censorship portal, not Sahyog portal. Okay. So they took them to court. Karnataka High Court ruled in favor of the government, not X. Now, what is this entire matter? Let's talk about this, okay? So, Union Government's Sahyog portal. Now, remember I told you about safe harbor provision, right? This safe harbor provision is for online intermediaries. These social media platforms are intermediaries. Clear? And this safe harbor protection will remain if they comply with government orders. If government orders them to take down some content, they have to do it. Clear? Now, this entire process is regulated by a law called Information Technology Act. Okay, Information Technology Act. Now, the thing is that government formed Sahyog portal. Okay, this portal was launched in 2024. It was launched by Home Ministry. And it is maintained by Indian Cybercrime Coordination Center. This portal is responsible for giving these takedown notices to social media companies. Now, these takedown notices are given as per section 79 clause 3 subclause B of IT Act, Information Technology Act. Clear? These orders are for internet intermediaries to take down content, and if these internet intermediaries do not comply with this order, then safe harbor protections will go away. Clear? Make sense? Now, what was Twitter's complaint? You see, there are two sections in the IT Act through which government can give these orders of takedown. Okay, one is called section 69A. Section 69A of IT Act, and the other is section 79 clause 3 subclause B of IT Act. Under both these sections, you can issue orders to social media companies to take down content. Clear? But the thing is, and this is what Twitter is saying, if you issue an order under section 69A, the government first has to prove that this content that we are telling social media company to take down violates national security or public order. So only on these two grounds you can issue this takedown notice, not on any other ground. Okay, you can't say that I don't like this content, take it down. No, only if that content is violating national security or public order. So section 69A clearly says that, section 79 doesn't say that. All right. Plus, under section 69A, the courts have made it clear that if you're issuing an order to a social media company, first the government has to form a committee which will prove that this content is violating national security, public order. Okay, and then that social media company will be given a chance to reply. That chance will also be given to reply, answer, and give its justification that why it won't be able to take down this content. All this is allowed under section 79A. These are known as procedural safeguards. Clear? But under section 79(3), no such thing is there. Okay, you can take down any content even if it is not violating national security or public order. It is vague. In section 79, it is written anything illegal can be taken down. Now that is a vague statement. What is illegal? Anything can be illegal, right? Plus these procedural safeguards, committee, right to answer, okay, all of this is not there in section 79. So recently government has stopped issuing orders under section 69A and started issuing orders of takedown orders under section 79 clause 3 subclause B. More and more orders are now issued under section 79. In section 69A there were safeguards, in section 79 there are no safeguards. That is why government is trying to bypass section 69A through section 79 clause 3 subclause B. That is the whole idea. Make sense? So Twitter basically is arguing this. You understand this point? That is what Twitter is saying. Let's take a look at section 69A. So it allows content blocking only on specific grounds related to national security and public order. Procedural safeguards, well, are there in this, but in section 79, there are no procedural safeguards also. Clear? Plus, there was this judgment of Supreme Court called Shreya Singhal case in 2016. In that judgment, Supreme Court made it clear that if you are issuing an order under section 79, that can only be issued if the court has ordered you to do so or a government has issued a notification for that. You can't give a normal order. Only under government notification, under a law or court order. But currently government is issuing these takedown notices without court order or government notification. So X is saying, Twitter is saying that you are violating Shreya Singhal case judgment as well. So this is their argument. Make sense? Okay, that's about it. So just be aware of section 69A and 79 clause 3 subclause B. Make sense? This is an issue of freedom of speech and expression, which is covered under Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A. Okay, that's what Twitter also said in Karnataka High Court. But Karnataka High Court said that this freedom of speech has some restrictions and government is fully allowed to put these restrictions under Sahyog portal. Okay, now Twitter can only appeal against this judgment in the Honorable Supreme Court. Let's see what happens. Make sense? Okay. Now let's move on to third news item, and that is decriminalization of defamation. Okay. Now what is defamation? If you say something or publish something online that maligns the character or reputation of any other person, that person can file a defamation case against you. That is defamation. So if you are maligning the reputation of someone by saying something, publishing something online, a defamation case can be filed against you. Now there are two types of defamation: civil defamation, criminal defamation. Under civil defamation, if you have said something against a private individual and that private individual files a civil defamation case against you, then in that case, well, the maximum punishment that you can get is, well, fine or compensation to that person who you have defamed. That is civil defamation. But if it is criminal defamation, well, that is criminal. That would be considered an offense. And if you are convicted, well, there is fine. There can be a jail term also. Now, this is something that is not found in modern liberal democracies, criminal defamation. This criminal defamation was introduced in India during colonial rule. It is a colonial legacy law. And in 2016, when a case was filed against criminal defamation, the Supreme Court also said that no criminal defamation is allowed. But now in 2025, recently Supreme Court has said that we need to review that 2016 judgment which allowed criminal defamation. Now the time has come to decriminalize defamation. Clear? So this is the background. Now let us investigate what is defamation, what is the difference between civil defamation, criminal defamation, and what is the criticism of criminal defamation, because of which Supreme Court is now thinking that we need to decriminalize it. Make sense? So let's talk about this. Okay. So defamation. So what is the definition of defamation? So defamation involves publishing a statement without lawful justification that injures another's reputation by subjecting them to hatred, ridicule, or contempt. Clear? Now, criminal defamation is covered under section 356 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which was enacted to replace Indian Penal Code. Clear? Such an offense extends to a dead person also. His relatives can file a defamation against you. Even companies also, or associations also, defaming an association. And to statements made ironically or by way of alternatives. Now I told you, there are two types of defamations, civil. Under civil defamation, it's very simple. The maximum punishment would be that you have to give compensation to the person that you have defamed. But under criminal defamation, well, there is jail term as well. Make sense? Now, how is criminal defamation different? Okay. So, for criminal liability, three elements must exist. Okay. You can only file, in normal cases, you have to file a civil defamation case. But if you're filing a criminal defamation case, then these three requirements must be met. Number one, the statement must be defamatory, that is given. Okay. You have to prove that this person has defamed you. It must be directed at a person or a clearly identifiable group. A group has made a statement against you, or not the group has made a statement against you. You have made a statement against a person or a group, like a religious group, caste group, okay, all this. So it must be directed at a person or a group, that statement. It must be published or communicated to at least one person. So for example, if I make a defamatory statement to you in private only, that is not defamation, okay? That statement should be heard by other people also. So these are the three requirements. Now, what is the proof requirement for criminal defamation? Unlike civil defamation, criminal law requires a proof of either an intention to cause harm or knowledge that harm is likely to occur. So you have to also prove that the person who has made this defamatory statement wanted to harm me. He had the intention or knew that harm would be caused by his statement. You have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. Clear? Now, this is generally used against journalists, and that is what the criticism is also. Okay? Journalists say certain things, they reveal certain facts. Okay? So, sometimes some powerful individuals file criminal defamation case against journalists. Now, the only justification that journalists have to save themselves from criminal defamation is that we have just stated facts. Clear? And these facts had to be stated for public good. If we would have hidden these facts, well, it would have harmed the public. So that is the only justification that journalists should give. But it is very difficult to prove whether these facts that a journalist has published in his newspaper, well, are serving public good or not. And that is why most of these journalists are caught in criminal cases. Clear? Make sense? So this is the reason why, well, people are saying that powerful people use criminal defamation to harass journalists or other people. Clear? Plus, the thing is that criminal defamation Well, people say that if you allow criminal defamation, it is a violation of Article 19, Clause 1, Subclause A, which gives us fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. Clear? But the courts say that defamation, if you allow blanket freedom of speech and expression, okay, and you allow people to defame anyone, then that would be a violation of Article 21, right to life. Because right to reputation is also part of right to life. So right to reputation is part of Article 21. So courts say that we have to maintain this delicate balance between the two articles. Okay, freedom of speech is important, it's a fundamental right, but right to reputation is also important. Hence, they have allowed criminal defamation. Clear? Make sense? Okay. Plus, someone filed a case in 2016, famously known as Subramaniam Swamy case. In that case, Supreme Court, two-judge bench of the Supreme Court, basically said that criminal defamation is constitutional. It is not a violation of constitution, so it is allowed. Clear? Make sense? But many critics have argued against criminal defamation. Okay, they are saying it is bad. Now, why is it bad? Well, critics say it has a chilling effect on transparency and accountability. People journalists or any public-minded citizen who wants to expose corruption will be scared to do so because, well, a defamation case can be filed. Okay, so this is the thing. Then law is weaponized by powerful people and politicians. Then it is a colonial legacy. Even Britishers don't follow criminal defamation. They follow civil, not criminal. But we still are following it. And for saying or damaging someone's reputation by saying something, you are putting a person in jail. That is disproportionate punishment. Clear? That is why in 2025, Supreme Court has said that we need to relook at criminal defamation and we need to decriminalize it. But to decriminalize it, it has to reverse the 2016 Supreme Court order, which was given by two-judge bench. So a higher judge bench, 3-judge, 5-judge bench, can only reverse the 2016 Supreme Court order. Make sense? Okay, that would be all. And last but definitely not the least, China's K visa. Now, this is a very short topic. It is not that important, but I'm just mentioning it because an MCQ can be asked. So you all know what H-1B visas are. Through H-1B visas, American companies hire foreign talent. Most of this foreign talent is Indians. Okay, but recently Donald Trump's administration has put curbs, restrictions on H-1B visas, basically trying to reduce the number of people applying to USA under H-1B visa. Okay, now many people are saying this would be bad for USA because through H-1B visas, USA was hiring talented people into US, okay, who contributed to American economy. This would stop that. So now America will no longer be the attractive destination for talented people, talented scientists, researchers. Now China has grabbed onto this opportunity. China has launched its own visas to attract talented people. These visas are called K visas. Okay. Now, basically, what are the finer details of this K visa is not important for you. Just remember that China is positioning itself as a rival to America, okay, in attracting foreign talent. Clear? That's about it. That's all you need to know as far as this news item is concerned. Though, read about the impact of this move from the notes. Clear? That's about it. It's not that detailed. Just give a brief reading from the notes. All right. And we will conclude now. Okay. That's all as far as today's lecture is concerned. Please do not forget to revise it from the notes. And I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.